Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about what factor determines the flow of charge. Consider two bodies at different temperatures. Keep them in contact with each other. What will happen? Heat flows from the hot body to the cold body. That is, from a body at a higher temperature to the body at lower temperature. Can you say how long does the heat flow? Yes, till both the bodies acquire the same temperature. Once they attain the same temperature, heat does not flow. Now, if you look at the slide, you can see two vessels, vessel A and B, which are connected to each other. And you can find the water level in vessel A is more than in vessel B. Can you now say how does the water flow in this example? Water flows from the vessel A, which is at a higher level, to the vessel B, which is at the lower level. In a similar manner, if two charged conductors are connected by a metallic wire, the direction of flow of electrons is given by a quantity known as the potential of the conductor. So here, to know the direction in which the electrons will flow when the charged bodies are in contact with each other, first we should know about which body is negatively charged and which body is positively charged. So here we know that matter is made of atoms, and atom has subatomic particles like electron, proton and neutron. Among these, the protons are positively charged particles and electrons are negatively charged particles. We also know that the number of protons and the number of electrons in an atom are equal. But when these two bodies are rubbed over another, some of the electrons from one body will be transferred to the other. So one body will become a negatively charged. The one which gains electrons will have a negative charge, and the body which has a deficit of electrons will have a positive charge. The body which has a negative charge is said to be at a low potential, and the body which has a positive charge or which acquires a positive charge is said to be at a higher potential. So, by convention, we say that the current flows from a higher potential to a lower potential. That is, from a positively charged body to a negatively charged body. Now, if you consider the flow of electrons, it will be from negative to positive. With this knowledge, we are going to understand what is electric potential more in detail. In our previous class, we have learned that like charges repel and unlike charges attract. Consider a charged body A. Now this charged body A will have a field around it where it will exert either a force of attraction or repulsion on another charge when brought near it. Now consider a test charge Q, which is also positive, and you would like to bring that test charge from an infinite distance to a point in the electric field. Then some work has to be done against the force of repulsion. This work that is being done on the charge to make it move towards the charged body A against the force of repulsion will be giving us a measure of the electric potential. So the electric potential at a point in an electric field can be defined as the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from infinity to that point in the field. So we can calculate electric potential mathematically by using the formula work done by charge, because it is the work done in moving a unit positive charge. So you have charge in the denominator. So electric potential is equal to work done W by charge Q. The SI unit for electric potential will be joule per coulomb, because work is measured in joules and the charge is measured in coulombs. So the electric potential units will be joule per coulomb. This we term it as volt, V-O-L-T. So the SI unit of electric potential is volt. Now to know about what is meant by potential difference. Now if you consider 2 points in an electric field, so the potential at A and the potential at B, what will be the difference in the potentials between the point A and the point B? That is nothing but potential difference. So to know the potential difference, we should know how much work is done to bring a unit positive charge from one point, that is say point B to the point A in the electric field. This we call it as potential difference. Let me repeat, it is the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to the other point in an electric field. This potential difference is also termed as voltage. We also call it as voltage. So if you want to measure the potential difference across a load in a circuit, we have a device called voltmeter, and this specific device should always be connected in parallel across the load. Not the way we have connected the ammeter. In an ammeter, we have connected in series, but here the voltmeter has to be connected in parallel across the load or across the resistor. Now, let's recall the differences between a voltmeter and an ammeter. Voltmeter is a device which is used to measure the potential difference, whereas the ammeter is used to measure current. The voltmeter is always connected in parallel in an electric circuit, where an ammeter is connected in series in an electric circuit. Coming to the third point, voltmeter has high resistance and ammeter has low resistance. This particular point we will be discussing in the next classes, as we have a new term here, resistance. Let's learn about it in our next classes. So for today, we have learned what is electric potential, the formula to calculate the electric potential, the SI unit, and what is potential difference, the device that we use to measure potential difference. So we will conclude our class here and will be continuing with our next module. Thank you.